All right, all right. Welcome, everybody. This is John Kovach with Amplified Minds. Just checking in today. Was having a little microphone trouble, trying to show off this cool guy, the Blue Yeti, but it wasn't working on my computer. I think I need to update some things. And so I'm back to this cute little guy, the Blue Snowball. But having some fun on the technical side and really just jumping into some conversations today. I'm going to jump in here and share this so that people can access it from various channels. But, some of the topics that I wanted to cover today kind of spurred off some of the things that we were talking about yesterday. And as I pull this up, I'll be sharing this. And one of the things that I wanted to cover today is learn how to get in front of the right people, the high quality people, wealthy people, successful people, so that you can build powerful relationships and businesses. This is a live hour we've been doing every day consistently, and I'll explain to you why I've been doing that specifically. But I'm going to take 1 second here and share this across the board. And as I do that, I wanted to share with you happy Wednesday. It's Wednesday, right? The weeks go by so fast. Okay, sharing it. Boom, boom, boom. Sharing across the board. If you jump in and want to say hello, just drop a hello or a nice comment in the comments section, and we'll go ahead and get started here. Boom. And boom, we're good to go. Awesome. So again, today's conversations, I want to talk to you mainly about getting in front of the right people. You see, we talked about yesterday in our broadcast that a lot of us struggle. A lot of us struggle to get in front of the right people. And that's what's causing us the lack of sales, the lack of ability to build relationships, the lack of influence, the lack of being able to penetrate into various markets and into various circles. And one of the reasons why we invented or why we created the Champion Circle was to take everything we've learned about events, everything we learned from masterminds, and everything we've learned over the last while, and to train people, to give them that experience and to share with them the things that they could do so that they could introduce themselves into various markets, various circles to get there faster. And a lot of us have that struggle. We don't have the time, we don't have the resources, sometimes we don't have the money, sometimes we don't have the ability or capabilities or even just the confidence to get in front of the people who we need to get in front of, to spend the time we do building relationships with the people we need to do. And so that to me is an important piece that a lot of us forget. And on another live hour show that we run for one of our clients this morning, we got to talking about the various relationships, and not every relationship is important and not every relationship is necessary. Okay. There are a lot of people who look at business. There are a lot of people who look at your business, and they're going to look at it and say, I want to be a part of that. I want a piece of that. How do I get involved? And you get excited by the fact that they might bring in more for you. I'm talking about sales. I'm talking about marketing and so forth. But when you go to talk with those people, it's vital, absolutely vital, that you recognize that that person has zero risk in not being a business owner to your business. And so you want to build the right relationships moving forward. You want to build the right connections. You want to create partnerships in the forms that will allow you to progress and to create more success for others, as well as they may or may not have great resources, connections, and so forth. That would be an awesome option or opportunity for you. A lot of this goes back to when I was in college. I joined the company Cotopaxi, where we were launching the Questival event. The Questival is a 24-hour, what do you call that, scavenger hunt. And we used our phone mobile apps to take photos of ourselves with our team pendant and flag throughout the state of Utah. And we traveled and did fun things and so forth. So it was really fun. It was really cool. But while I was working there, we hired what we called brand ambassadors, and brand ambassadors were people who would go online, who would talk about the product, share about the product, or share about the event, and would introduce it to various circles. Now, a brand ambassador was really, really good when you had the right people. In other words, people would call them influencers, right? Influencers these days are hard to come by because there are good influencers, there are micro influencers, and then there's just the ones who claim to be influencers but don't have influence. Okay. Yeah. And a lot of people are like, well, you just see how many followers they have. Well, no, that's not how it works, because an influencer who has 20,000 followers could have gone to Asia and purchased, 15,000 or more of those accounts to follow. What you do is you look at their engagement, you look at their comments, you look at their, how they're connecting with people online. And as you do that, you'll see this person's an influencer because they drive content, they drive conversation, they drive a various level of expertise in everything that they do. So there's a little bit of a tangent and a little bit of a discussion on brand ambassadors, sales representatives, 1099s, people who are posing as influencers. You definitely want to keep an eye on that. And as you begin to hire, as you begin to connect with people who have these various expertises, I highly recommend you get to know them. I highly recommend you build a relationship based on what you both can provide in your strengths and so forth. But when you focus on those things, then it's really good to proceed. It's very good to proceed with the ability and the confidence that you can create more and more outcomes with each other. Okay, so that's something I wanted to share. But going back to the conversation about learning how to get in front of the right people, okay, and again, why we created the Champion Circle, why we had the Profit Mastermind for the last 2 years, is because we wanted to teach people how to position themselves, how to use leverage, and to surround themselves with the right people. Getting in front of the right people is vital to you. It's vital to your business. My client this morning was talking about that on our show as we were talking about creating more opportunities for our business, for our growth, for everything that we're doing. Okay. And for a lot of you, especially during COVID-19, quarantine, lockdown, stay-at-home orders, all of that, you are absolutely forced to, alter or adjust your connecting capabilities. One of my favorite things to talk about is how you can use resources today to create opportunities within your network and build more relationships online. I'm going to take 1 second here, and I'm going to just say hello to Jason. He said he was looking forward to this. I appreciate that. And hello, Taylor Douglas. Thank you so much for joining. By the way, Taylor, if you have any idea or want to contribute to this, I'd be happy to bring you up on the screen. Just message me and I can share that with you. But this conversation is about how to put yourself in front of the right people. Okay. So let me tell you, let me walk through a scenario here with connecting. Okay. Now, a lot of people need to understand, and a lot of people hold each other to some sort of ethics or code of ethics or ethical system, right? When it comes to connecting. If I go on Facebook today and I start scrolling through the suggested people that Facebook wants me to connect with based on who I know, and I start liking and connecting with a bunch of people, whether I know them or not, there's this ethical code of conduct that people are calling each other out on. Why would you connect with that person if you don't know them? And what I would argue to that is, why wouldn't I connect with them? They're someone who I definitely want to get to know. They're definitely someone who I want to understand. They're definitely someone who I could have into my network, into my connection. Another person jumping in, Faust Bellarmino. Faust! my good friend. Thanks for dropping your knowledge, kapatid. Maraming salamat, mahal kita. And we should have you on sometime too, Faust, if you're willing to drop some health advice and some information about the things that you've got going on. I'd be more than happy to bring you up on this hour. So as we talk about reaching out and connecting with people, there's this moral and ethical dilemma that a lot of people are challenging each other on. And if I don't know you, why would I accept your friend request? I don't know, because your photo says a lot about you. Your profile might be interesting, because you in general might be interesting. But let me talk to you about the tactic, okay? A lot of people are mistakenly using this tactic to go through and adding just anybody and everybody so that they can increase their followers and their likes. And as a result of all that, okay, you are messing up your potential opportunity to create valuable relationships. Okay. Interesting comment by Taylor. She says, I accept about 30% of the friend requests I get. I love that you said that. I love that you have said that you've kind of measured that. And I'd say it's probably a third or so, right? It's probably about a third. And it's probably because, you want to stay relevant. You want to only connect with people who you are interested in, people who are likely to be a great network. So what I want to get at with this is, a lot of us are arguing that there are cool and great ways to build relationships. And while I'm not opposed to you sending random friend requests to people who you don't know, but that Facebook suggests or that other platforms suggest for you, I would highly recommend that you take the extra step and then creating a log or creating a record about the people who you're reaching out to, and then just immediately develop conversations, immediately start to reach out and to build friendships, right? And there's why, because you can add a bunch of people, and then you can create more dialogue through your comments, through your messages, and so forth. But when I add somebody who lives in Paraguay, I don't know that they live in Paraguay until I accept their friend request or look at their profile, right? But a lot of us are just adding. And what you're doing to your system is you're looking for the easy way out. A lot of times in my live hour or at our masterminds, and I totally took this from Levi McPherson, but in the levels of influence, okay, at the transactional level, the bottom feeder level of all communication and relationships, people just spitfire, okay? They cock the shotgun and they shoot a bunch of pellets in the air and hope they hit something, right? And that's what people are doing when they go online. They're just posting random and hoping that that's going to drive marketing content. That's not marketing. Hate to break it to you. It's definitely not marketing. And what I want other people to recognize is that as you build relationships, there needs to be tact, there needs to be strategy, there needs to be authenticity, there needs to be a few things that are backing you up with what you're doing. When you just go and accept a bunch of people thinking, oh, this might get me more likes, or this might give me more follows, or this might give me more engagement, I tend to find that if it's 30% or less, like Taylor suggested in her comment, I'm going to bring it back up. When it's 30% or less, you have more engagement than when you have 100% or 90% or 80% of the people who have requested to be your friend. A lot of people are going and they're just clicking, but they have no intent of following you. They have no intent of learning from you. They have no intent of watching your stuff. Every now and then you capture a really good person. But using that tactic alone, you truly miss out on the development that can be created through the actual strategic reach out, right? And so I love this concept, because a lot of people say, wow, so then, John, how do I get in front of the right people? Let me tell you a quick story. Before that story, let me pull up some comments. Taylor also said, I delete and unfollow these new connections or old connections frequently if we don't form a relationship or give value to one another. So I should take your example, Taylor, because I will be the first one to tell and admit I want to be transparent with you. I have learned the hard way. Okay. I've gone on to Facebook and I've accepted every friend request. I've commented and liked and shared and connected and invited people to be my friends on Facebook before. I've done this on LinkedIn. Okay. I jumped from 3,000 LinkedIn connections to 12,000 LinkedIn connections, in a very, very short amount of time. And what I missed out on that was I wasn't actually gaining engagement. I wasn't actually gaining relationships. But what I gained was a number. Okay. And if you want to talk numbers games, if you want to feel like a number, do exactly what I did, and you're going to feel horrible about yourself and your connections and the strategies you're in. And then when you're out there thinking, oh, I have all these followers, I have all these friends and connections, why aren't I making millions? Why aren't I making six figures? Why aren't I able to leverage and develop an incredible outcome of result on my marketing? It's because you didn't do it right. Okay, a lot of people are impatient, and I was impatient in the market. So first one to admit it, cuff me, whatever, you guys. That's. I want to be transparent with you that I'm not the best example of the original example, right? But I love sharing this because I want you to know how much it ruins you. And then to look on the brighter side, I always tell people to go where the people who you want to be around go. For some of you, this means understanding who your ideal client is. I know we hear that a lot, but in order to know who you need to be surrounded by is who you need to work with. Okay, let me get to a few more of these comments. I sent almost every accepted request a message immediately to connect with them and introduce myself. I see I can serve them at all. I love that. Sorry, I thought I read it wrong. Especially on LinkedIn where you can do that. Any connection you request, you can send them a message and say, hey, my name is John. I saw your profile and I found it really, really interesting. I'd love to get to know you more, maybe over coffee or a phone call or Zoom. What do you say? Okay. And then if they accept your request, then you jump into conversations and you continue to develop those connections. I love that. Thank you for participating, Taylor. I appreciate your comments. She said, definitely not marketing by using a shotgun method. I agree. And then I have over 200 pending requests right now. I commend you, Taylor. That's amazing. I get anxious when people have pending requests and I either delete them all or I accept a bunch and just start reaching out. But and then I'm just protective of my social media as I'm a person in social life. Yeah, I agree. When you become an influencer or a person in the public as a public figure, there's a lot of information I forgot that I had out there that people were taking. I wouldn't be surprised if someone's using my information right now, and I need to go and track that down. You know what I mean? There's some pretty interesting stuff in the cyber worlds. I definitely have come a long way. I used to do exactly what you said. Well, thank you. I appreciate your vulnerability as well in sharing that, because you're not alone. Like, you get into business and you're excited, right? You get into business and you're so excited about creating opportunities through relationships and then, selling and so forth. A good example before I get to my main story. Okay. I get all over the place, but a good example is I just launched a virtual assistant company based in the Philippines, one of my side ventures. And as I've been hiring and working with various Filipino workers, there's just a lot of expectations and a lot of cultural things that I'm working with. Though I'm fluent in Filipino, though I'm fluent in business talk, and I wouldn't say fluent. I would say actually that I'm proficient, which is better than fluent, right? I'm proficient in a lot of these, and I thought it would be an easy piece of cake. But building this business and building the systems, I have a couple people lined up to become clients, but figuring out my systems and processes has been a little bit more tricky than I anticipated. And so as I build, I need to build the right relationships. Well, I don't just go out to Facebook and I just say, hey, need a VA, buy this. Okay. And if I do that, call me out on it, because it's not about that. It's about providing a solution to people. And I know that the people I want to work with isn't everybody. So why would I go on Facebook and just post, hey, everybody, need a VA? I got one. Here you go. Use them. Right. And if I were to do that, then I'm just basically putting it out there. That's the shotgun method, right? Just pellets flying everywhere. And when I do that, I'm not aiming at something specific. I'm more likely to receive connections by building relationships with the people who I know need what I have. So I realized that our VA solution is a better solution for those who take lots of videos, lots of selfies, who do a lot of live casts, who are involved in that, and we create opportunities for them by turning their videos into written content, graphic content, as well as ebooks. And so a lot of that is stuff that I've been working on the side, but it's been difficult because of the example. Okay, so getting to my story. As you put yourself in the right circles, you need to know how and where to go. This is one of my favorite examples. And I actually, oh man, I don't have the book in front of me. But there was a lady by the name of Jaime Masters, Jaime Masters. If you look her up on LinkedIn, or if you look her up here on Facebook, she's phenomenal. Okay. She wrote this book called The Eventual Millionaire. Do you want to know how she wrote that book? I'm going to tell you. Jaime went on LinkedIn and she looked up in LinkedIn Premium, you can look up various salary levels and just kind of understand where people are at on the financial spectrum. It's blows my mind that that's true, and most companies provide that information. But Jaime used that resource and tapped into a millionaire network. Okay, she looked for various millionaires who were able to and willing to come on to a podcast show where she was going to interview them. She had a series of questions she walked through and basically was taking notes and learning about what it takes to become a millionaire. Okay. The way I said that with the inflections, it reminded me of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Do you remember that show? Okay. So anywho, the concept of this is that she interviewed these millionaires and learned what it takes by their advice and by their recommendations, what it takes to become a millionaire. And she wrote the book, The Eventual Millionaire, because a lot of these millionaires said, it takes time. You've got to put these things into work. You've got to act like, talk like, speak like, surround yourself with various millionaires. And it's one of my favorite books and one of my favorite examples of how she became a millionaire. Okay. She surrounded herself with these people. She built a platform and a various level of topics that she could talk about. And now she's got her own show, her own book, her own business, and a lot of things going for her where she talks and teaches people how to become a millionaire. So with that, I ask you, how do you get in front of the right people? And I shared the Facebook example. You can do the exact same thing on Facebook that you do on LinkedIn. There's another reverse side to this I'll share in just a minute, but think about it. Where do the people that you need to attract hang out? If I need to speak with millionaires, okay, I'm probably going to go first to LinkedIn because that's a more professional network. Not too many millionaires are on Facebook because most millionaires are over the age of 50. Most of them, okay? I'm talking about a majority factor. Most millionaires are over the age of 50. Okay. They're not on Facebook. They're not really on social media unless they're using a leverageable platform where they can talk business and professionalism and hire. So that's why they're on LinkedIn. And it's because of that I need to go to the various groups or the various topics that these people are investing in. Investments, real estate, oil. There's just old money type scenarios that these people are interested in. Where can I also find? Let's talk about this without quarantine. Okay, for a second. If we're not in quarantine, where do millionaires hang out? Millionaires hang out at the golf course, country clubs, various private institutions, clubs, and so forth. So how do I get into those groups? Well, first of all, you walk to the front door. Okay. You turn your foot. I saw this on TikTok the other day. It says, this is how you get abs, or this is how you make it look like you get abs. All right. You look in the mirror, you turn your foot to the left, and then you take one big step towards the door and go to the gym. Right. And that's how you get abs. So how do you get in front of millionaires? Well, you turn your foot and you start walking towards them. There's a list and an area of things that they like to do. Okay. If you can do a quick Google search on what millionaires like the yacht club, they like cars, they like convenience, they like their various schedules, okay, they like jets. There's things that people really, really like in this world. So that's where you want to put yourself. In one of our masterminds, one of the original Amplified Minds masterminds, we had an individual who needed to raise $20,000 in just 2 weeks to help build a construction project that they were working on. And this person asked the group, where do I go to build relationships with millionaires? And we told them, well, we know of quite a few of our friends who hang out at the country club down there in Draper. And we said, perfect. He's going to go and he's just going to sit in the lobby of the golf course and he's going to hang out and strike up conversations with random millionaires. And as he did that, he instantly made several great connections that led to building multiple homes. And he didn't raise $20,000 in 2 weeks. He raised $40,000 in 1 week, right? And that happened because of influence. That happened because of putting yourself in the right circles. Okay, now back to the quarantine situation. I can't go to a country club. People aren't leaving their houses right now. John, how do I get in front of the right people? Champion circle. Okay, LinkedIn, go to private groups. See what these guys are doing online. What groups are they attracting? I can guarantee you that if you find a group on Facebook that says billionaires, there's not a single billionaire in there. I can guarantee it. But if you go to the discussion topics or the circles that these people are hanging out in, based on interest, based on what they like, the demographics and the psychographics of these people, okay, there you go. Now, all of a sudden, you're identifying really, really impressive places to put yourself in the right circles. Again, plug for Champion Circle. That's why we built the Champion Circle, is to take these people and put them in circle groups, social circle groups, so that they can be surrounded by people who are going to influence and help them, right? Help them win, help them in every area of their life. So there you go. There's some ideas and some thoughts. I'm going to go back to some comments before I share the flip side of what I was talking about. Okay, Taylor says, I like to take the time to look at each profile. I accept or deny. So if you're someone trying to connect, ensure that you have some valid public posts to validate who you are. Love that. I absolutely love that comment, especially when you're connecting with people, right? So as you connect with more and more people, have some level of credibility. One of my favorite things about LinkedIn is that you can post articles. Articles ensure that you are not just some profile made up, backed by an email that somebody's projecting out to the world. But when you've actually written content and contributed, I'm interested. Okay. I'm so interested. A guy hit me up the other day and says, hey, I'm a writer for Forbes. I want to talk to you about contributing. And, I had to do some real research because what a great invitation, right? I'm a writer for Forbes and I'd like to help you contribute. So then I'm thinking, okay, this could be a scam. Let me go look up his profile. Okay, I did some verifications. I looked at his profile and I noticed that he had never written for Forbes. In fact, in all of his bios, he had never said anything about Forbes. So I messaged him back and I said, hey, that's very, very interesting. Can you share me some of your work? I'd be interested in learning more about what you do and how we can work together. Then I got to find out that this person was a new contributor. This was a new writer, that they hadn't written too many things that were published on the physical blog, but there were some stuff on the online stuff. And I thought, okay, so they didn't misrepresent themselves, but they did have an example of credibility and they were leveraging a platform that they had access to. So there you go. But at any rate, I could have been like, oh, yeah, let's get into that. I want to be on Forbes, okay? And thinking, self-serving and thinking about the broadcast. And then I get in there and I end up buying something that would have led to, someone running away with my money. Okay, so there are stuff out there. You've got to validate people. And maybe they don't ever message you. Maybe they just send a request. There's no point in that. There's no absolute point other than when you accept people and you tag them, you get access to their network. But it's kind of hard to tag other people when you don't know them. I don't want to broadcast Joe Schmo on my posts when I don't know him, So there you go. There's some ideas. There's some options. I love that comment, Taylor. I appreciate you talking about that. Turn transactions into interactions. I love that. That's a really great quote. And then she eventually became a millionaire. Yes. Yeah. Jamie eventually became a millionaire after she wrote the book, The Eventual Millionaire. And she's got a really great podcast, a really great show, a great company, and she's awesome. She's a good friend of ours. And we know her, through some of our circles. So that's a really good example. Now let's talk about the flip side of all this, right? And what I want to get at is why would you want to influence your network? Why would we want other people to come into your network? Right? Why does someone add value to your network? People who send friend requests, people who send those requests to everybody, what value do they have provided? Well, if they're a real person, not a fake account or whatever, it's likely that they do have value, 100%. It is likely that that person has value to add, some sort of connection to make, some sort of offering, or even a transaction in the form of a sale, right? Now, if that's the case, then are they potential? It depends. It always depends. But you've got to focus on your strategy. Who do you want to invite into your world? Okay. I saw a friend on Facebook the other day make a comment on somebody else's request to learning how to turn a personal page into a Facebook business page. And their comment essentially went as far as, don't go and add everyone. You're going to ruin everything. It's going to ruin your algorithms. And I was curious to understand why that was. And so I did a little bit of research, I did a little bit of asking, but I basically learned that, the most leverage you're going to have is in micro communities. Okay. Tony Robbins, if he sends a tweet out, okay, there's going to be 100,000 likes, 100,000 reshares, retweets, sorry, and then a bunch of other, engagements. But really, if Tony Robbins sends a tweet, who is he influencing? Okay, he's most likely going to have a connection with people who know who Tony Robbins is, have been to his events, who've read his books, have been influenced or felt something because of him, right? Those are typically the people who you're looking at. And he knows who exactly his target audiences are. Small business owners looking to make investments, build multiple revenue streams, influence their life, let go of limiting beliefs, and a lot of hoorah stuff, right? People who buy into that are attracted to Tony. But why would Tony accept a friend request from a random person when he has that much? Okay. I just hit 1,000 followers. I don't know how, I don't know why, but people are following my page. I don't have nearly as many connections and friends, but I just hit 1,000 follows. And I was wondering, who is attracted to this? Who's following this and why? So if you're listening and I haven't really connected with you, reach out and tell me why, because I need to know. I want to know, but that's up to me. That's where the patience game comes in. I need to know why my audiences want me. I need to know why they want what I'm sharing. I need to know why they would take the time to listen, why they would watch this hour. Okay. I've looked at my analytics. The majority of the people who jump on these discussions, besides a very few select individuals, only watch for about 3 minutes. And so is every 3 minutes that I'm producing quality enough content to attract and negotiate and create a relationship with this person? So think about that. But if you are an influencer, why do you let certain people into your life? Why? What value does it bring it to you? What opportunity does it create for you? That's what I want you to think about. There are so many other things that business owners don't think about because they're super excited about the business. They're super excited about their office. They're super excited about their logo and things that just really don't matter. Okay. I launched this VA company and I went onto canva.com and I was like, I'll just create something and work on it later. That's how a lot of businesses are created. there's this huge business boom in branding, business boom in branding. Should write an article on that. Okay. The business boom in branding is that you need to have branding that is concise with you, that says you, yada, yada. And it goes into color and it goes into shapes and it goes into logos and designs and icons and all these things. But the truth of it is I can wear my NASA shirt every day and talk to this camera. And for some reason, and for some reason alone, people will start to connect. People will resonate. People will follow. Maybe they like my black hair. Maybe they like my blue eyes. Maybe they like the books over my shoulder. Maybe they think it's cool that I sit in a white chair or that I'm using a microphone. Or maybe they're just like, oh, this is interesting content. Okay. Or maybe they actually resonate with what's going on. But whatever it is, why would I accept a connection from someone random? And you've got to have a strategy behind it. So I wouldn't say that there's anything right or wrong about your tactics and your strategies. I'm never going to tell you you're right or you're wrong based on, what you do. I'm only going to critique and I'm only going to say that if it has a strategy and that strategy has a clear outcome, then I respect it. If you're adding 100 people a day on Facebook, what's your strategy? Are you also messaging 100 people? Are you also sending 100 people free gifts and creating a relationship? Are you also sending people to a YouTube channel or a place where they can get free content or free things so that you can delve deeper into their relationship? What are you doing as the recipient of attraction to help these people? A good friend of mine, Melissa Summers, shout out to you, Melissa. Melissa, I'm going to tag you in this later so you know I said your name, and I shout out to you. She introduced to me over my podcast a concept called attraction marketing. And where everyone else is shooting blanks and trying to just hit something in the sky, right? She talked about the attraction marketing methods. And where it basically got into was, the various steps it takes to build a relationship by attracting the right people. And attracting the right people is not an ethical dilemma or anything just because you don't know those people. Social media has given us the flat world mentality. Let me pull this book up, okay? A very, very difficult read. I highly recommend the Cliff Notes version or listening to it while you ride your bike or walk every day. But this book is called The World is Flat. No, this is not about a flat world belief system. It's about a concept. Okay. This is not what it's by Thomas Friedman. So this is a really, really good book, but The World is Flat talks about how we all live in a flat world society where social media and the internet has made the market flat. A lot of people are like, oh, they have an unfair advantage over me. Oh, they're so good. If Tony Robbins posts a tweet, he's going to get more likes, follows, and information or an engagement than I ever will because I've got 100 followers. Okay. The world is flat, you guys. You create your own value, you create your own strategy, and you create anything that will absolutely leverage the opportunity within all that you're doing. Okay. So let me take a step back. Let me sip to that. I'm going to take a big water break here. And I'm going to send out the invitation. Taylor, I'm inviting you to come on the screen. If you're still watching, would you like to come on? If so, just type yes in the comments section and I'll send you a link. I think you're the perfect person to talk to about this. If you're not there, no worries. It's okay. I'm going to do a quick review here on what we're getting into. So getting in front of the right people, high quality, wealthy, successful, so that you can build powerful relationships and businesses. Think about that, right? As you build powerful relationships that create businesses, there's so much power behind that. Know who you want to connect with. Know who you should be hanging out with. You guys, everyone in the world is in front of a screen right now. Know where they're at. Know how to attract them. Know how to build the relationships. Okay, she is here. Awesome. Are you up to coming on the screen? She didn't say yes or no. So I'm just, I want to be safe. I want to be careful. If you want to, I'd love to have you on. I'll just send the invite link here in case you want to. Okay, sent. But I want you guys to think about those relationships. I want you to think about where you need to go, what you need to do to be in front of those. Yesterday, we talked about something, okay? I still have this up, okay? Yesterday, we talked about identifying 1 to 5 personal relationships, 1 to 5 professional relationships, 1 to 5 peer relationships, and 1 to 5 passive relationships who were vital to you creating success in your life and in your business, okay? So as a result of all that, my question to you is, have you done it yet? What's your strategy? My strategy is to reach out every day to various individuals who I love and care about, who I want to survive with, right? I think of this in apocalypse in the apocalypse scenario. If I were to have to bunker down with a series of influential people in my life, who would I bunker down with? That's essentially what I'm talking about here, you guys. It's the same scenario. If you were to be stuck on an island, we all did this when we were in grade school, right? Who would you choose? Okay, a lot of you just took your minds in a whole nother direction, but essentially thinking about that concept and knowing exactly who you would be with, who you would surround yourself with. That is a very, very important concept that I want you to stress. By the way, Taylor, I texted that link over to you if you'd like to join. I've got about 10 more minutes here on this, and I just want to share some thoughts and ideas that I've had. Oh, awesome. She's going to be jumping on here. Okay. Want to introduce you guys to my friend and an amazing professional business owner and mentor, Taylor Douglas.
Hey, John. Hey, how are you?
How are you doing today?
I'm good. It's a good day. It's really nice outside today.
I know it's a little windy, breezy up here in Heber, but the sun is shining, and like I'm addicted to the vitamin D, so I'm really grateful. Thanks for all your comments and participation, and especially in this topic. This is a topic that you and I share very, very high interest in, and I look to you as someone who's an incredible expert and just someone who has really great ideas about this. And I wanted to thank you too for your vulnerability and sharing that you did the exact same thing that I did. And we've learned a lot from this, but it's just very, very interesting to me that seems to be it. But I wanted to kind of capture your opinion and your thoughts and ideas about some of this topic idea about getting in front of the right people, putting yourself in the right circles. And what do you feel like people need to know in regards to putting themselves in the right circles?
I mean, I think the number one thing about putting yourself in like maybe higher level circles or the circles that your ideal clients are in is just always coming at everything with intention and integrity. Because if you can't go into a circle with the desire to contribute without attachment, you're not going to be seen as someone who's valuable. Because if you go somewhere where people don't know you, you're not connected to anybody, and you just want to come in and sell things, you're not going to be welcomed with friendship. You're going to be pushed away because nobody wants that, because we live in an ad-driven society right now, and people are constantly being sold to. So selling can't be the only motivation that you have to connecting with new people.
I 100% agree with that. One of our clients this morning, we do a live hour with them as well, and they're in the CBD industry, and they're talking about how CBD, THC, hemp, marijuana, all that stuff, whether you have opinions or not on it, it's fascinating because there are a lot of people who want to come in to this industry that's on a huge booming rise and capitalize on it. But but the relationship level built starts with who you know and what your strategy behind what that relationship does. And I think you nailed it on the head. I think your perspective can't be focused solely on sales. Now I say solely because you emphasized it, is that sales is part of it. We've got to live, we got to thrive, we got to survive. But if the caveman has to leave the cave to kill, to bring back food for nourishment and to survive, we have to think the same way. But we can't just leave the cave without tools and resources and an idea of where we're going. So I thought that was really cool. There was something you said in the comment section I wanted to go into, and I hope you don't mind that I just jumped into an interview with you, but
totally good. Awesome.
I appreciate you. And I want to give you a chance too to talk about your upcoming course and thoughts of that if you have a minute. But going back to, let's find it, this comment right here. Let's pick this one. She said, I'd like to take a look at each profile I accept or deny. If you're someone trying to connect, ensure you have something valid in who you are. And I think it's interesting because tell me a little bit about that process, because a lot of people know how to Facebook stalk, but they don't do it when they're looking at accepting a request. What's the systematic process you go through when someone sends you a request and you're like, seems interesting, I need to know more? Go. What do you do?
Okay, well, the first thing that you see when you're in your friend request is whether or not you have any mutual friends.
Mm-hmm.
I don't just automatically deny anyone that we don't have any mutual friends, because that's not one of my criteria, but it is one of the first things that you look at. So if I have 300 mutual friends with you, that's just as interesting as if I have 0 mutual friends with you. So
Right.
After I notice that, I'll go to the profile and first I'll look, can I see where they live? Do they have any public posts at all? And you have to watch this because a lot of people will keep their profiles private, everything's private. And while I fully understand the reason why everything is private, and I used to do the exact same thing, what ends up showing up on your timeline is anything public that you shared, which is usually a meme or a random video or something. It doesn't really express your personality or who you are. So if you can have, even if your entire profile is private, just a couple of valid recent public posts, just so I can validate you're a real person, you have your own personality, and I can see you can show people who you are, what you stand for and what you post about. Because if I go to your page and you're only posting things that are political or negative, now I'm all for politics, right? It's needed and it's necessary. But if it's the only thing I can see, it puts a few points on the I'm not so sure I want this on my timeline side of the equation. So I look for just enough positive things that are in line with the people I want in my life, and do those outweigh maybe the things I don't necessarily mind in my life? Because I was talking to one of my friends the other day, and I said, well, if I just unfriended or didn't talk to anyone that believed in something I didn't believe in, I would have no friends, because
Right.
everyone's got something. So it's just, are there enough things that maybe there's someone who they just have positive things, they maybe are looking for positive things, or they just seem happy at all? Let me look right now. Can you still see me? Hold on.
I can't, but
Oh, hold on 2 seconds. I'm gonna actually look here. Hold on. So you can hear me though, right?
absolutely.
Okay, so I'm just gonna literally go into a couple of my friend requests I have right now and tell you what I see. So I got a friend request literally 2 minutes ago from someone. I have 0 mutual friends, but when I go to their page, it looks like she has pictures of her family. She has on her thing that she's a wife, mother, entrepreneur, God above all else, and lover, not a fighter. First, I am all of those things. So I say, okay, this could be someone I could be friends with. And then she has multiple public posts that I can see she's an actual human being. Let me go down a little bit. There is another one here. I have 118 mutual friends with this person. And they look to be all people that are in kind of the entrepreneurship circle. But the only thing that's public are pictures of flowers and her face. And that's pretty much it. That's the absolutely only thing that I can see on there. So what I might and that she works at Life Leadership. So I know she does sort of an MLM company. So sometimes what I'll do with this one is I'll actually just confirm the request so that I can actually look at everything else on her page. So I just accepted it and went on there. It looks like she's only posting, like she doesn't look like a real person, to be honest with you. She doesn't have enough on her page to actually look like a human being. She has no posts, but she has like 2,200 friends. So I don't understand how that's even possible, to be honest. So I'm actually going to unfriend her. So there's a few things like to notice, like you can state in your profile, like the little intro part, you can put things in there,
bio,
like explain to people who you are. And you just need to have a few things to make it look like you're a real person, pretty much. And so I get a lot of friend requests, so not everyone gets accepted, and it's not always personal, but I do try to connect with people, and you can connect with people without being their friends if you want to. So.
Absolutely. And I started off the call today with the moral or ethical dilemma that people are either challenging each other or sharing. Why did you connect with me? What was your interest? That people go through when they reach out to people. But as we started this conversation, I really want people to understand how they can put themselves in front of the right people. We're talking about high quality people, the people who you want to attract, the people who you want to be around for business, for life, whatever purposes. I tend to see like absolute 100% similarities in just like personal life and in business. And the reason why is like whether you're attracting people to date them or to woo them or to become a member of their association or whatever it is that you're trying to do, as long as there's strategy behind it, there's so much more value that comes out of that. So I thought that was very, very interesting. And I'm really glad that you have a personal strategy for this, because it actually teaches me a lot of what I should do. Sometimes it's random. Sometimes it's like, I'm feeling generous today, and then sometimes it's as strategic as what you said. It's, I got to go look at their profile. What I will add to what you shared, because that was absolute gold, is that not only can you see what you posted that was public from prior, but you can also see posts that were public posted about you that you accepted, right? That you gave permission to. So if it's political and then all of a sudden it's like, I don't know, stomp on Capitol Hill and you're like front row on a post, it's like, okay, yeah, politics are great, but it's not my interest in social media. And so I just have an interesting concept and thought about that. I wanted to talk a minute, if you have a few minutes more, we're just going to wrap this up in a minute, but this little comment you shared is turn transactions into interactions. I wanted, because I love this and I understand it, but I wanted you to kind of talk through that and I wanted to hear your opinion on that quote and that thought.
Well, I heard this. I lived it before I heard this quote. And once I heard this by Scott Porter. Scott Porter is someone he's a local here in business. If you've never met him, I don't know. Have you met Scott Porter?
I know Scott. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Scott.
Oh yeah. We were at the same event where I met Scott. So when I met Scott and like he did this presentation at the event that we were at, it just blew my mind, because if you actually learn the definition of these words, like transaction, like trans means to move across something. So moving across this action of like, just money for value or money for a thing, whatever that is. And an interaction is like something that happens between two people. So have you ever had a conversation with like the people checking you out of the grocery store? Like, have you ever actually had a conversation where they're just really interested in talking that day for some reason? And it actually just changes your whole experience of, moving through that grocery line, rather than like, this is a person that you can't even see them as a human being. Like they're just like doing this job that they have. But if you can take these moments where you're trading something with someone in a conversation, you're paying them something, whatever that looks like, if you can turn it into an interaction, even digitally, it adds to your relationship and your connection quotient, right? Every interaction, every conversation, every post, every single digital or in-person touch either adds or takes away from your relationship quotient. And the more you add, the more like space there is to screw everything up. You know, like if you really, really have high trust in somebody and they make a mistake and they come to you, you are way more likely to forgive them and just move on with like your relationship. But if someone is constantly not showing up on time, or maybe their interactions with you are like kind of difficult or maybe rude or whatever that looks like, if they come to you having screwed something up, you're going to be much less likely to want to continue to work with them or continue to buy things from them or have a relationship with them at all. And so you have to be really considerate that every interaction, which means even the things people see you post that they don't comment on, that they don't like, that is also part of adding or subtracting inside of your relationship.
I absolutely love that. Pure gold from Taylor Douglas. That is amazing stuff. I 100% agree. And I've seen that. I've seen it in online interactions and so forth. I think that's super cool. The turning transactions and interactions piece that I wanted to comment on just to add to what you said is that you when you are strategic about what you promote, what you post, and what you do, even if it is sending them a free gift or sending them into your CRM or giving them something, the reason why they commit is because there's value behind it. They yearn for it. But there's no ethical dilemma behind that, but it's just having an idea and a strategy behind it. So as you create relationships, whether they be, I'm going to use the word consensual, or by the related, see, here's where it's like, are we talking about business still, or are we talking about personal? Okay. But the relationship in a consensual basis is, did you capture their permission? Did you capture them in a way that they basically shared with you, yes, you can have my email, yes, you can have my phone number, yes, you may reach out to me because we share interest. And that's what a lot of people miss out on, because they think if I can just create a huge email list and then send out emails daily, weekly, I'm going to stay top of mind and my sales are going to go up. Again, a strategy not recommended. The strategy behind all this is what you just shared, Taylor, and how you drive and build relationships on a personal level, and what your strategy or tact behind that is. Since you're on, I'm wrapping up the show here, but I wanted to give you a moment. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on in your world and what you're going to be producing or have already produced or shared? I know it's exciting, and I want to give my audience the opportunity to learn more about you and to connect with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So if I've never connected with you and you're watching this, I am a speaker and I'm an interpersonal influence mentor. So what I do is I do group coaching programs and I do events and retreats that help people to connect with each other, build solid foundations on their own personal development, and really develop like trusted, reliable connections inside of all of their realms of influence, which is, you know, with yourself, your friends, your family, your career network, your communities, and then when you're going out and making a contribution to the world. Like, we all live in each of these circles in some way. And when you're not, if you don't bring intention to the core, which is you, and you don't bring intention to the conversations that you're having inside of each of these realms, you end up with whatever happens rather than what you wanted to create, or something that you could have actually brought into existence simply by speaking it or typing it or creating it into existence. And so right now what I have going on is later this year, we're going to be having our Becoming event, which John has a ticket to, and it's all about you and people. And we have some incredible, like really high level speakers that are going to be at that event, people who are masters of this connection and like relationship in their own businesses. So that's number one. Number two is I have a course launching the beginning of June, which is now currently for sale. That is a 4-week intensive about how you develop that intentional influence inside of each of these realms. And it's going to be, it's not for the faint of heart. Like, this is for the person who wants to intentionally go elevate all of their connections and their relationships and become someone who the people in their circles relies on, can trust, and can like have open, connected relationships with. And if that's something you're interested, you can comment on this live wherever you see it, and John will make sure that I see that. or you can message me directly. My name is Taylor Douglas, and it should be easy to find in the comments. And I'll give you more information, but it's a 30-day course. And every single week, we're going to be diving into the different realms and doing some real in your life work. Like, you're going to be calling your people in your circles. You're going to be having real conversations. This isn't like give you more information about, creating relationships and then you go out into your life and do whatever you kept doing before. You're going to be changing these things in the moment during the weeks that we do the work in.
And that's why I'm super excited to promote that and also to support you, Taylor. You and I have so many similar interests, and where I teach a general concept of building relationships and developing those into partnerships and so forth, Taylor does an amazing job and an incredible facilitation of diving into the weeds, into the roots of everything you need to enhance and increase your interpersonal and relationships that leverage and influence your life. And so I love that, and I respect that. And I also that selfishly, that's why I've made contact with you and have developed relationships with you based on what I'm doing with our champion circle, because of the advisement and the influence that you have in creating these types of relationships. So I wanted to honor you and value you in that, and share with you and my listeners that you guys should check that out. Again, send a message to Taylor Douglas, and we can get you more information. I'll make sure I tag you, Taylor, if anyone asks or have any questions. Just so you know, you've got some friends who are absolutely in love with you. Taylor, Willie says hello and loved and wisdom and energy. So thanks for sharing that, Willie. And appreciate you coming on. I really appreciate the last secondness, but this was a topic that I was just like, yesterday it was burning in my bosom, and I was just like, I need to talk about this. So I was super excited to get on the live hour today with you, and thanks for sharing your wisdom.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I super appreciate you and honor and respect you as well.
Taylor and I have conversations on Marco Polo all the time, and we have such similar communication tactics where, like, I compliment them, and then they reverse the compliment and compliment back, and then we compliment. It'll go on for forever. That's why we love hanging out. So I appreciate you and thank you. And I'll make sure we send anyone your way that says it. But thanks, by the way, too. I know that I've got Eric Swanson in the back joining me on this call, and it looks like you got yourself a free webinar ticket this Friday. So I appreciate that.
Yes, I'm so excited. All right, John.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of your day. Guys, I want to just value the relationship that we just had, in that that is all developed through mutual connections through Facebook, right? I have a friend who was an employee that connected me to Taylor, but we didn't connect until we connected online first. So that kind of brings it all into perspective, right? The relationships built through these online platforms can be done in a very, very great strategic way. I said yesterday, the challenge was you've got 10 days. Now you have 9 days, right? In the event that we are able to start lessening our time in quarantine. I've actually, I don't want to burst anyone's bubble, but I actually was told that a lot of projections are saying that we won't be able to go back to normal activities, normal sports, normal recreation, and more normal gatherings and events until about June 30th. That's the unofficial prediction. So I don't want to burst your bubble, but just be prepared to know that this is a real thing. Okay. I had an uncle who passed away from COVID-19. There are friends and family members of mine who are currently experiencing it right now, and so forth. So shout out to them, and prayers and love their direction. But just know that you might be in quarantine for 9 more days, and then it might loosen, or we could be in this for another 2 months. And if that's the case, just be prepared, be ready, start thinking strategically about how you reach out. My challenge yesterday was to all of you is you've got 9 days to connect with the persons that you need most in your circle and in your life. Okay. I mentioned that if you want kind of the automated personal accountability system, message me about a champion circle, because in champion circle, we do all of this with you and for you. But my invitation to you is you've got 9 days. I challenge you to reach out to one person of influence who you need in your circle today. Do that now. Okay. So take all the advice we talked about over the last hour. If you're just jumping on and you missed it, play it back. Okay. We're on YouTube. I'm streaming on Facebook Live here, and it's also on our podcast. So check that out. The last announcement I will make for the day before I jump off here is that if you haven't already gotten your ticket, in the comment section below, I've posted a link to the worldwide webinar summit of the Habitude Warrior Conference hosted by Eric Swanson, my good friend. And I actually have a really cool graphic he shared with me this morning that I get to leverage and put on my platforms. But I'm really grateful for that. So if you haven't already gotten your free webinar tickets, I mean, some of the worldwide leaders in attitude and habits and performance are going to be speaking at this event. I fortunately get to be one of the MCs, one of the co-MCs of this event, and I get to share with you some of my knowledge and my expertise, but also connect with the world's leading people. There might be an opportunity for me to interview and talk with and ask questions with some of these great people, which you're not going to want to miss, because one thing that I know that I'm really good at is asking the right questions to the right people. So there you go, guys. There's our comments. There's our section. There's our broadcast for the day. I appreciate you joining, Taylor, and thank you for all your comments, everybody. If you have any questions, any thoughts, or if you think this is worth it, that somebody else needs to hear this, share this with those people. In fact, I would love it, absolutely love it, if this conversation struck enough nerve for you to copy and paste the URL to this video to anyone who's trying to just add you as a friend on Facebook. Okay, randomly. You don't know the person and they sent you a friend request, and you don't know them, but you want to get to know them before you accept them friend request. Copy and paste this URL into your messages and see if this gives them any hints, because sometimes people need to be more tactful and we need to be better at reminding them. Okay, we need to be tactful in how we approach that, but we need to be respectful and awesome about how we create relationships with others. So Taylor said, I can't wait to be in the room with really great people and love them. I love that. And then comments are a solid way to get noticed and build a friendship. I 100% agree. Man, super excited. Thank you for this hour. Thank you for you all. And I'm just grateful to all of you, and God bless.